was the policy before? Everybody needs to put their Chromebooks up. Phones up, everything up. What was the policy before? I gave you your homework back. Let's say you made whatever, you made a 50. What was the policy? You could redo it, but you had to do what? Or you weren't going to redo all the problems you did, right? And once you redid all those problems, what did you get? You got an 8, okay? So why am I getting questions about why I'm not getting this? So we discussed over and over, study out. You get 10 problems every day. That's the minimum you have to do, 10 problems, correct? Okay, so if you make a 70 or above, what do you get? 100. Is that not helpful to every student? Is that biased towards any student? No. In fact, it helps everybody, correct? Because if you don't normally make good grades, wouldn't if you're only making a 70, wouldn't that be like a gift? Okay, all right. So now you're doing your problem, and we've discussed on Study Island. Let me pull it up here. Let's see, let me study off class. So we've discussed on here, okay, you have all these assignments, but they all say that they're due, with the exception of those little pre-tests y'all did, they all say they're due when? May 31st. Why does it say May 31st? So that's the date that you get to redo them up to, correct? Okay, so just like any other homework, they're due the next day. But just like any other homework, you can redo them because there was a certain point on the regular homework that I let you redo them up to, correct? Usually it was the end of the 9 weeks. Well, guess what? June 1st, we start testing, which is why they all say May 31st. So nobody's getting punished by me giving a 70 equal to 100. The assignments are due the next day, just like any other homework. You get to make them up, which is why why the due date says May 31st. But now, when you redo them, what does that redo grade go to? You get one chance to make it up to the 100, correct? That's the first time you get it. Now, just like any other redos we've had all semester, what does the maximum grade become? An 80. Just like, so nothing's changed, correct? Okay. Now, so I've had to answer a lot of questions, and completely explained it to several adults, and they totally agree with what I've just explained. So I want to make sure everybody understands what's going on here. Nothing has changed. You're just doing your homework on a computer, right? Instead of on paper. All right, now, I've said this, I've said it I think 3 days in a row now. Some of you are not getting on the computer. What's the minimum problems you have to do? 10. So you're taking advantage of that. So from here on out, if you do not attempt at least 10 problems within that 24-hour period before 8 a.m., you don't get the opportunity to redo it, period. You get whatever you have. Okay? So this is not fair. Why is it fair for Kale to bust her hump and try to do those problems, and Sierra sitting right beside her might only do 3 problems? Why is that fair that Sierra gets to redo it and Kale, who also gets to redo it? But it's not fair. That's like saying, okay, Slade, you missed 2 practices for football this week. And Hayden, you were there every day. So Slade, you get to play as many games as you want. You get every opportunity just like Hayden does, with no punishment. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. And I'm just picking on y'all because I happen to be right here in football. It's not fair at all. So if you're not going to put anything into it, I'm not giving you anything out of it. So there are a good many of you in here right at this moment who have 0 from yesterday, of which I did not teach, did I? No. Okay, so it doesn't matter if I'm teaching it or Coach Harris is teaching it, you still have 10 problems, correct? You still have the same opportunity to redo it, the same, you have to do the 10, all of that is the same, right? Okay, so I'm giving you this one last opportunity before the next block. I'm starting to call parents. And I'm just going to say, look, I just spent time with Mrs. Fields showing him a printout of a student's time on study hour. This is why this student is doing poorly. When you do 10 questions in 2 minutes, you're probably not going to have a very good chance of making a good grade. I mean, would you agree with that? Does that not seem like you're guessing? I mean, I got somebody in another class that, they're doing 40 problems in 10 minutes. Didn't they? I mean, y'all seen the problems that you did yesterday? Did you do 40 problems in 10 minutes? Working on them now? No, you couldn't. Alright, so I just want, anybody have any questions on that? About what the expectations are? Nothing has changed. Just because we're doing on a computer, nothing has changed. If anything, I'm helping everybody out more by saying, all you gotta do is get 70, and I'll give you 100. I didn't do that before, did I? I didn't give you 100 just to make it a 70 or above. On any other assignment, we've done that whole time. So, just so you know, I'm saying it again, the computer logs the exact moment you hit start studying and the exact moment you log out. So when you're going home and telling your parents, oh, blah, 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 whatever it is you're telling them, you're going to get called. As somebody just did, because I just said, here's the printout of what they've done. Please call the parents and show them this. Please let them know. Please. I'll be the first to tell you, my kids are not perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. So what really calls under my skin is when parents are contacting me saying, blah, 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 like their kid does nothing wrong. I mean, come on. If you're going to go home and tell your parents that, whatever, know that you're going to get called. It's going to be right here. All I got to do is hit this little thing right here, and it shows me exactly when you logged on, how many questions you did. I can even pull up the questions you missed, and exactly when you logged on. So if nothing else, you probably want to contact whomever it is you're telling and say, hey, I might have told you something wrong. You might want to fess up. You might want to, plain and simple, quit lying. That's all there is to it. There's nobody in this classroom that can say I've not given you every opportunity to make a better grade. Every opportunity. I've let you read it. I've stayed in here after school. I've given you ways to contact me. There's no way you can say I have not tried to help you. So please, this is just an adult talking to you about life in general. Quit trying to skate by on mom and daddy's coattails. Quit trying to lie your way out of stuff. Quit trying to get by with it. Quit trying to get away with it. It doesn't work. I'm sure y'all heard, especially if you play sport, quitters never win or winners never quit. The same thing that applies in academics. It's not going to lie. And I will tell you, it's like I told one of my own kids this week. You're in school with some kids right now that I would be really ashamed if they were my kids, the way they're acting. Whether they're, whatever, not making unwise, very unwise decisions when it comes to a Chromebook. Very, and I will say it, stupid decision. I didn't call the person stupid. It was a stupid decision. When anybody disagrees, everybody's got to know what I'm talking about. Nobody would disagree with that. That would be a stupid decision. Very unwise. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. Y'all aren't perfect. No matter how much you think somebody's perfect or not. I mean, think of somebody you look up to right now. Whoever it is. My mom, dad, coach, whatever, friend. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. But don't think that you're going to get caught. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but you're going to get caught. And it's going to catch up to you. It will catch up to you. I went to school with a girl who parents made excuses for her all through high school. Oh, that teacher doesn't like her. Oh, that teacher can't teach. Oh, that coach is picking on her. Oh, they're bullying her. Whatever. Mama did homework for her. The girl goes to college. Guess what? Mama still does the homework for her. Mama still makes excuses. Oh, they can't do this. They can't do that. Comes something as stupid as, everybody used to do this example. Trevor spilled water yesterday, and I went and found it, and I was highly upset, but anyway, we cleaned it up. But if I had told Trevor, he never tried to lie to me. As soon as I said something to you, he said, yes, it was mine. If he had tried to lie to me about that and said, no, I didn't do that, that says a lot about his character. But he didn't do that. As soon as I said something, yeah, it was mine. And he cleaned it up, right? We came down Monday, he cleaned it up. Everybody, I mean, did he intentionally, I don't know, was there a water ball or something? I mean, did he intentionally spill it? I doubt he did. I'm sure he probably paid for it. I mean, he didn't intentionally try to spill it. But, and I'm not trying to pick on him, I'm just saying, he didn't lie to me. He knew. And we took care of it. But don't lie. Oh, golly. And a lot of you, I'm really disappointed in some of you. You will lie just like that to get out of something. And it's going to come back and bite you. It's really going to come back and bite you. I mean, if you get nothing out of this class, I mean, you learn no math whatsoever, be a better person. Owning up to it is one thing. Owning up to your mistakes and saying, hey, I did it. I admit it. I did it. And take it hard. Ask for forgiveness, whatever it is you're doing. I know that's not a math lesson, that's a life lesson, but I got hit with something this morning that totally floored me because I wanted to say, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I can pull up on the computer right here exactly when it's been logged on, what has been done. Are you kidding me? All I did was print it out, take it to Mrs. Fields and say, I don't know where they're getting this information. Here it is. Here it is. Here's the video from the last 4 or 5 days. Go to the Google Classroom. So you want to hear what I said? Press play. Saying, you better think about what you're doing. I think I even said yesterday that I was covering my bases, didn't I? Was it this class I said that or fourth class? And I was recording things so I could make sure that when a parent came up or when you came up at the end of the semester and said, you didn't do this, but I recorded it so I would make sure everybody could hear it. By golly, I got to play that video this morning. Say, there you go. I don't know where mom and dad are coming up with this. I don't know where the kids come up with this, but here it is. So we take care of it. That's okay. So I just want to make sure one more time. Tell y'all, know we're all on the same page. You gotta do 10 questions. If you do not do 10 questions, you're going to get a 0. And you're not going to get 3 digits. Okay? You're going to get a 0. A lot of you are doing great and bringing your grades up. I will be here this afternoon. And when you do that, we're talking about this. I told you I would tell you because I wasn't sure about a ball game. Was it you or was it my big league? I don't remember. I will be here this afternoon. If you want to say anybody else wants to say it, I'll be here this afternoon. So like 4 o'clock. If you need help. If you want to redo it in a study hours, I will be happy to help. Everybody's good. Just want to make sure. Y'all understand. I'm going to do the same policy board blocking so they know. So we're good. When you're absent, same old policy. Get 2 days to make up your words. So, if you were, were you absent yesterday? The day before. Was anybody absent yesterday? You were absent? Okay. So if y'all were absent yesterday, you have 2 days, just like normal, to make up what they did yesterday. It's on there. I mean, yeah, it says May 31st, but that's your redo date. So if I put the real date that it was due, like if I put in on yesterday when you did these 2 with Coach Gutierrez yesterday, solve linear equations and solve linear equations, if I put in the due date of today, 5/12, it cuts it off. It won't let you redo it. So if I put in 5/12, then you can't redo it, which is why I have to put in 5/31. So when it says due date of 5/31, that's your redue date. And if a parent had simply, had the common courtesy and the gumption to just ask me that, I'd have told them, instead of them trying to get all fired up about something. But anyway, so that's why the due date in there is 5/31, so you can redo it. Because if I don't put it in there as 5/31, you can't redo it. If I put in the real due date, then it cuts it off and you can't go back to it. Alright, so anyway, now let me say this. Slade and I were talking just a minute ago. And I've discussed this with several of you, if you care what we were talking about. Alright, I don't even remember what Slade's grades were, but he had redone something and he had, you Snapchat me or something? I don't remember what you did. It was? That's why I couldn't find it. I cleared my phone out. I was doing night school and I cleared my phone out and I saw your name and I thought, well, I'll look at it when I go home. But I went on Snapchat. That's why you weren't there. Okay. Anyway, so Slade redid something. I do know he said it was two-way frequency tables. But anyway, so I'm just going to make up numbers. Let's say Slade made a 10 on it the first time he did it. Well then, so he redid it last night, and so he made a 70, which is what he just told me. Now what have I told you that it does to these grades? It averages them. So he's not getting that 70, he's getting, technically, if you add that and average it, it would be a 40. Okay, so you've got to redo it over and over to get this average up. Just because you make this 70 or 80 or 90 or 100, whatever, it averages those things. So that's what he has. I mean, that's not what he has, but because I made up those numbers. But that's what the grade would be right now. But can he go back and redo it again and bring it up? Yeah. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that part. So when when you go in, which is why I'm saying some of you are going in and you're just, oh, she says I want to do 10 problems, so I'll do 10 problems, I'll just go through and guess, and it's going to show me how much time you spend on it. And let's say you make it 20, it's real hard to bring it 20 up. I mean, like right now, if those were Slade's grades, let's say, okay, so now he has a 40 average, and now he makes another, say he redoes 10 more, and he makes a 70. So when I average those, that's 150. 150 divided by 3 is 50. So now his average is up to a 50. That grade is up to a 50. Does that make sense what I'm explaining here? So just because you did it and you got a 70 doesn't mean that you get that in the grade. It averages those two things. So is everybody, I think I emailed you that. I got an email. I emailed you this morning. I don't know if you got it, but I emailed you this morning. Yeah. Alright, anybody, so are we okay with this? Okay. Alright, so, and please, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be here this afternoon. Please stay. If you can, please stay so I can help you. Alright? Now, back to what we needed to do. I just wanted to get that all out of the way. Where was I? Math 1. Oh, I think I already brought it up. Here we go. Okay, so, today's Thursday, right? Okay, so Monday and Tuesday, we worked on writing equations and writing inequalities, right? Just writing them, not solving them, just writing them. Given an example, we wrote the equation. Like this one says, in fact, we might have even talked about this one. 100 gyms charges a base monthly fee of $28.23 plus $3.75 for each fitness class. If Hunter attended 7 fitness classes last month, how much did he pay the gym? So on Monday and Tuesday, we took these and we wrote the equations. We didn't solve them. Now yesterday, you were with Coach Gutierrez because I had a meeting. So you were with him and you actually solved equations and inequalities. It didn't start out with word problems, though, did it? Yesterday's didn't start out with word problems. They started out with equations. Or they might have given you a word problem and said, okay, here's the equation, now solve it. So today what we're doing is taking everything we did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, combine it all. So you're going to be given a word problem, more than likely. You're going to have to write the equation, and then you're going to have to solve the equation. But let's be honest, talking about the EOC, I told y'all this before, we're kind of down to crunch time. We've got about 15 days left before we start testing. If you didn't really know how to do it before, pretty good chance you're not going to learn it all of a sudden. So I'm kind of in the mode of, I got to teach you how to beat that test. You know, I've heard me say, oh yeah, we've gone from a 25% chance of guessing to a 50% chance, right, by just doing certain things. So I'm to the point now where I'm trying to show you how to do this. And just doing simple little things. So when you're getting problems like this, on the test, they're going to, on the test, they're going to have 4 answers, right? Right? So they'll give you 4 answers, but do you necessarily have to write an equation to solve the problem? What is a great test taking strategy? What do you think, Christian? Work backwards. Take your answers and plug them in. You can most definitely do that. You can work backwards, take those answers, plug them in, and see which one works. And that's one of the things that we're going to work on today. Not necessarily writing the equations, but using common sense and working through it. All right, so on this one, it says Hunter's Gym charges a base monthly fee of $28.23. Really odd monthly fee. Maybe that includes taxes or something. So no matter how many times he goes to the gym, he's paying $28.23, right? So he's paying that no matter what. Plus, every class he goes to is $375. So if I go over to the gym, let's say the park or the gym where the pool is, I got to pay $28.23 every month, and then I've got to pay $375 if I go to a class. And they've got aerobics classes and all different kinds of things. So if I'm paying $28.23 each month, and then I'm paying, what was it, $375? Yeah. All right, so $375 for ever how many classes I have. And the question says, what's he paying if he goes to 7 classes? Do we really need an equation for that? Because you have said, okay, I know he's going to pay $28.23, and I could add $375 how much? How many times? I could add it up 7 times. I mean, I could write down $375. Lord have mercy. All this. So what would be a much easier way of doing that? Do what? I heard somebody say it. What did you say? I can't hear you. Multiply 7 times 375, right? Okay, so we could do that. So we can just stick 7 in here. So I think I got the calculator pulled up. So let's put this out. So $28.23. I mean, we're just using common sense. We're paying that per month, and you're adding $375 7 times. So adding it 7 times is the same as multiplying it by 7. And you get that 54.48. Would you consider that a problem that you could solve common sense wise? Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty easy one. But when you think, that was not too bad. I wish I could scroll up on it. I thought I could. So, I mean, they go through all of this, where they plugged in 7 and did all that, but we figured it out. All right, so this next one, I'm pretty sure we did this one before on Monday. For her job, Gloria makes $12 an hour, but she spends 50 cents each day traveling to and from work. If her net income from yesterday was $71.50, how many hours did Gloria work that day? All right, so $12 an hour, 50 cents each day traveling to and from work, but she makes $71.50. Any ideas, common sense wise, how to do this? What do you think, Dan? Okay. All right, so Sam says add 50 cents back to the $71.50 and then divide it by 12. So he's saying, okay, she brought home, her check was, or what, let's say she got a check. Her check was $71.50. Well, we know they took out, or she spent 50 cents. So if we add that back into it, that was how much she made originally before she took out her 50 cents, right? So if you add 50 cents back to that, what would that be? $72. And we want to know how many times 12 will go into 72. So you got your calculator, so 72 divided by 12, 6 hours. Now, what they really want you to do is to say, okay, wait a minute, her pay, her income, whatever they want to call it, is $12 an hour, 12 times 8, because that's her rate, but take off 50 cents. That's the equation they're going to bring up, that they're going to use. But he thinking common sense wise, we did the same thing. Let me scroll up and you'll see what they did. So they said 12x, so we used 8, the hours she worked, or he worked, whoever it was, minus 50 cents, but they set that total to 71.50. So just like Sam said, we add this 50 cents over here and got 72 and then divide by 12, and that's where the 6 was. Now, your answers probably on that test have been like 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5, 6, 7, 8. Could you have taken those hours and multiplied it times 12 and subtracted 50 cents to see which one gave you 71.50? That's what I'm talking about, common sense. Working backwards, cheating the test. All right, so I think we did this one too. Samantha's selling boxes for a school fundraiser, and she earns $5 for every box that she sells. Suppose Samantha must earn at least $250 during the fundraiser. She's already made $85 selling cookies. If this situation was modeled by the inequality below. So they're giving you that inequality, but we really don't need it. Think about it. All right. You've got to have how much money? You've got to have $250, right? All right, so if you were working this out on your old scrap paper, you got to have $250. How much does she already have? You already got 85, right? So we can take that out, can't we? So 250 minus 85. Use your calculator and tell me what you got. 250 minus 85. 165, okay? Now, out of that 165, what does she sell each box of cookies for? $5. So how many times will 5 go into 165? So we're dividing that by $5, right? 33. So she's got to sell 33 boxes. Okay? So they gave you that equation, or inequality, but you really didn't need it too much. I mean, we still got the same thing, 33. Alright. Justine baking cupcakes for a bake sale. Each batch of cupcakes requires her to use 3 eggs. And there's 15 cupcakes in each batch. She's already baked one of them. So Josephine has 21 eggs left. What's the maximum total number of cupcakes she can bring to the bake sale? All right, now let's think about this logically. Your mama, your grandma, or maybe you're in the kitchen, you're baking, all right? 3 eggs for every 15 cupcakes, correct? And you only got 21 eggs left. So if I got 21, and it takes 3 for every one, how many batches can I make? How many do I have left? Read, close that Chromebook up, please. If I have 21 eggs left, and I have 3 for every batch, how many batches can I make? 7. Okay, 21 divided by 3. So I can make 7 batches. Well, if I can make 7, how much, or how many, cupcakes can I make? So you said 21 divided by 3. That one was a simple one. 7 batches. How many cupcakes can I make with 7 batches? How many can I make with 1 batch? How many can I make with 1 batch? 15, right? So what am I going to do to 15 and 7? Multiply them, right? So times 15, that means I can make 105 cupcakes, right? But there's a trick in here. Anybody tell me what that trick is? She already made 1 batch. So she's not going to have 105 cupcakes. She's going to have 120. So she's got to add 15 more to that. So here's where they went through, and there's her 120. Now, do you think 105 is going to be one of those answers? Yeah, it will be. So be careful. Make sure you read everything. All right. Population of trees dying of a disease. Each year, 4/5 of the previous year's population remains. If there are 23,416 trees this year, how many trees will remain after 8 years? This is an exponential. What they want you to recognize is it's a exponential equation, exponential problem, but you don't technically need to do it that way. How many trees are you starting out with? 23,416, right? What's my rate of decay? Be careful. right? Because it says how many are left. 4/5. That means 1/5 is the decay. And how many years am I going for? 8. All right, so here's what they want you to do. They want you to say, okay, your starting point, what was it, 416? Yeah. Your starting point is 416. We're decaying, and like you said, whoops, 1/5, and it's for 8 years. That's really what they want you to do. They want you to recognize that that's what that problem is. Now we could put that in our calculator and find it out. We could say 23,416 times 1 minus, now you've got a fraction, so 1 divided by 5. You've got to close that parentheses, raised to the 8th power, and we could get our answer. But be honest, how many of you would have been able to write that equation? Couple? And how many would have struggled with it? How many would have put 4/5? 1 minus 4/5. How many of you would have made that mistake? Alright, so what I want to show you is, let's think about this common sense wise. Let's say you got 23,415 trees, and they told you 4/5 are left each year, right? So if we take 23,416, now here's our answer we got, 3,928.55. So if we take 23,416 and we take 4/5 of it, how many times? 8. Would it not give us the same answer? Okay, so if I say 23,416 times 4/5, well, there's 1 year. It's going down. It makes sense because we're taking part of it. Times 2 years. Well, there's 2 years. Whoops. 3 years. 4 years. And 5 years. And 6 years. And 7 years. And 8 years. Did it give us the same answer? Yeah. We didn't necessarily have to know how to use the equation. Did it make it easier? Yeah. But you could have made you a table. I mean, you could have said, all right, I'll start out with 23,416. And that's in 0 years. So after 1 year, I have this. After 2 years, 3 years, so on and so forth. You could have done it that way too. It's another way to look at it. Alright, so I think they did the equation, or they made the table, I'm not sure. No, they got the equation right there, so they did the 4/5. Alright, so there's 100 grams of a radioactive substance. Half of that radioactive substance decays each minute. That means if I got 100 grams, if 100 grams is this big, after 1 minute, I got half of it. Half of it's gone away. Alright, using the inequality below, so I gave you the inequality. Where did that 0.5 come from? Half. That's the 0.5. Where did the 100 come from? That's the starting amount, right? And they want to know when is there going to be less than 6.25. Now, do you remember, let's see, hold on. When we did this was the last test you took, actually, when we weren't on study island. This was the last one, the exponential growth and decay test. This was some of the problems you had on it. We got to get the t by itself, but that t is an exponent, so that 100 is being multiplied, so the opposite would be to divide. Okay, so if we divide by 100 and 100, that gives us 0.5 to the t less than, it should be 0.0625. Somebody check me, maybe make sure. Bless you. 0.0625? Alright, so here was our dilemma. What we're solving for is in that exponent. So what did we do? Anybody remember how we brought that exponent out front? Do what? Log. We took the log of it. We said, bring the t out front, and we said t log of 0.5. We gotta do the log of both sides. Right, I'm glad y'all remember that. Some of you did, that's fine. Now this p and this log of 0.5 are being multiplied, so we divide on both sides. There's some tissue, I think, over there behind the door if you need any. Oh, okay. Alright, so let's do the log of, let's see, remember the log of buttons over here by 7. So the log of 0.0625, close your parentheses, divided by the log of 0.5. And how many minutes is it going to be before it's less than 6.25? 4, right? 4 minutes. Now let's think about this. How many of you would have remembered to do the log of it? Not a whole lot, maybe 2 or 3. So let's think about it this way. Using our common sense. We start out with 100. Right? We start out with 100. So at 0, we have 100. And we want to know how many minutes it's going to take to get to that 6.25 mark. And it said it has a half-life. A half-life means half of it's gone, right? So we've got to multiply by 1/2, or we can do what? Divide by 2. So just take 100, divide by 2. Well, there's 1 minute. Divide by 2. There's 2 minutes. Divide by 2. There's 3 minutes. Divide by 2. There's 4 minutes. There's the 6.25. So just knowing that half meant divided by 2. What would we have done if it said it doubled every minute? We'd have multiplied by 2. You got to know these key little words here. Let's see. I don't remember how they did this, but I think they did a table. Yeah, they did the table. But notice they did 0.5 to the first, 0.5 to the second, to the third, to the fourth, to the fifth, to see that. Same thing. That's the end of the whole lesson, guys. But the rest are videos that I'm not going to make you do there. So let's go back. Let's go through. We're not going to do all of these because I think you're pretty good on doing some of these. Let's see if we can work on them. Yay, we passed the topic. We're going to do it again. Oh, while I'm saying that, let me say this, because this is something Slade and I were talking about. When, like these are just, when we've done them in class together. But say you had done this one, whichever one it was, and you didn't pass it, or maybe you did pass it with that, you didn't make a 70 or whatever. And some of, I don't think there's any on here where it's gone down. Oh, like right here. Let's say this original one. See where we did it originally, or where something, I've done it with 2 or 3 different people or whatever, and I made a 52.6. It doesn't let me redo it. I go down to this bottom one, right? And even though it's got a different name, it's still the same stuff. They just call it a different name. Okay? So don't let that fool you. It may give it a different name, but it's still, as long as it's within this lesson, you're still good on it. Alright, let me go back to, okay, local company employs a varying number of employees each year. Based on its needs, the labor cost for the company include a fixed cost of $27,951 each year and $31,422 for each person. I'll read that again. The labor cost for a company include a fixed cost. That's the startup, right? A fixed cost. That's whatever his insurance is, whatever his materials are, all the different things that come in with owning a company. And $31,000 is called overhead. Anybody ever heard of overhead? Well, let's see, Reed, your dad has his own business, right? Okay, so let's say Reed's dad, he's got to buy all this equipment to do his whatever job he's doing, right? So that is the amount of his overhead. Or maybe he has his own shop. If he has his own shop, then he's got to pay for the mortgage on that shop, or he's got to pay for the electricity, or whatever. This is how much his dad's paying each person for a whole year. Like you might have a worker for him, and that person might make $31,000 a year. So that's the fixed cost. That's the overhead. That's the amount he pays each person. What does that word right there lead you to think it is? Each. What does each mean? A rate. That's the slope there. Alright, so for the next year, the company projects that labor costs will total, oh Lord, $2,447,522. How many people does the company intend to employ next year? Alright, so let's think about it. Here's what they're saying the amount's going to be. No matter how many people work with him, what's he going to have to pay? $27,951, right? So take this amount, $2,447,522, and subtract the $27,951. So everybody should be doing this. And what do you get? $2,447,522, and subtract out the startup cost. So that's how much he has left, right? Now, how are we going to figure out how many people he's employing? How much does each employee cost? $31,423. So whatever number you got when you subtracted, now divide it by 31,423. How many people are in that company? 77. Now, could you have worked backwards and took these numbers and said 363 times this for each person plus this? Well, you can work backwards that way. Did y'all tell me 77? Yay! Alright, Ron's going golfing with 4 friends. The cost for 9 holes is $27.75 per person. So each person has to pay that, plus a $19.50 tee time fee for the group. How much will it cost for Ron and his friends to play 9 holes? There's a trick here. How many people are you going to have to pay for? They're each $27.75. So how many people are playing? 5. Don't be tricked by this 4. It's Ron and 4 of his friends. So you need to say, okay, $27.75 times 5, so there's 5 people, plus this $19.50 tea time. So in this case, $19.50 is the startup cost, the B, and the $27.75 is the rate. So what do we get? B, $158.25. Yay! All right. So Mackenzie wants to have a frog as a pet. Anyway, all right, Mackenzie wants to have a frog as a pet. Not quite sure why, but okay. Before she buys one, she wants to know how much buying and caring for the frog will cost. So that'd be important. She determines that the cost for the frog, its cage, and everything inside the cage will be $76.75. The frog's food will cost $2 weekly. How much will it cost for Mackenzie to own and feed the frog for 20 weeks? How much is it going to cost her up front to get the frog? $76.75, so put that in there. Are we adding or subtracting? We're adding. You don't subtract out how much you pay for food. You add it. So 20 weeks, but how much each week? 2. So $76.75 plus 20 times 2. What do we get? $115.75. All right, which answer on here makes absolutely no sense whatsoever? 40. Why does 40 not make any sense? Because you got to pay $76 for the blue frog to begin with. Don't be stupid and pick D. So y'all say D? Yeah. Oh Lord, here we go, baking cupcakes again. All right, Shannon wants to buy cupcakes for her friend's birthday party. The bakery she goes to sells cupcakes for $2.75 each. The bakery also sells gift cards for $1.75, and she decides to buy one card. If she buys 7 cupcakes, how much money does she spend? Okay, so what's her startup cost? Startup cost, $1.75. She's buying one card, right? No matter what, no matter how many cupcakes she buys one card for $1.75 plus $2.75, because that's the each. So $2.75 times 7. What do we get? B. What's a B? I was gonna say B, right? B. Okay. All right. Laura retired from her job recently, and she has saved about, gee, that's enough, $385,000, 950. Man, I need to get up with Laura. She plans to withdraw $1,981 each month to pay for living expenses. After a certain amount of time, the balance in Laura's account is $348,350. How many months have passed since Laura retired? Do what? Well, I don't know. Let's see. She starts out with this much, right? She starts out with that much. How much is she taking out each month? She's taking out that much, right? Well, what we need to know is how much she took out to begin with, right? I mean, she starts here. How much is she taking out over the ever how many months? How do we find that? We're going to subtract here, right? Okay, so if we subtract 385, 956 and 348, 317, how much does that give you? 37,000 and something? Alright, so now how are we going to decide how many months? We're going to divide it by that amount right there. Which one is it? A? Okay. Yay! Zach, you involved? Can you do anything right there? Alright, Betsy's High School is putting on a production of a play as a fundraiser for the school's music program. The local banks agreed to allow the school to use a line of credit from which they can withdraw money to pay for the play. Then any deposits they make at the bank will be applied to the negative balance of the credit account. What a mercy. Alright, the play cost $400 to produce. So that's a cost, that's a negative amount. They intend to sell tickets for $7 each. And after the play, Betsy will take the ticket proceeds and deposit them with the bank. Makes sense, right? Cost us $3,400 to produce it. We're selling tickets for $7. Hopefully she's got money at the end of the day to deposit in the bank. Alright, so if 729 people attend the play's opening night, what would the balance of the bank account be? So we got to first decide how much money do they make, and then we got to take out her cost to put the play on. So how are we going to find out how much she makes? 729 times 7. That each right there is your key that you're multiplying. 729 and 7. Alright, so if you multiply 729 and 7, somewhere around $5,000, I guess, I don't know. And then we have to do what to get 3,400? Subtract it, because it's a cost. So they made $1,700? That's good. That's going to be pretty sad for us. He's in the hole $3,000. Alright, almost done. Alright, for their unit on the legislative branch, Mr. Heske's government class will have 1 test and 7 homework assignments to complete. Alright, the test is worth 160 points, and each homework assignment is worth, is worth 20% of the test. How many points may be earned during the unit? Now this is a little bit tricky. So first of all, how much is the test worth? 160 points, right? Now, how many homework assignments are there? 7. And it says each one of those is worth 20% of the test. So we got to find out how much is 20% of 160. So what are we going to multiply? 160 times 0.2. So remember, you got to make that into a decimal. Nick, pay attention. So So 160 times 0.2, 160 times 0.2 is 32 points. So every homework assignment is worth 32 points. So how many homework assignments were there? 7. So 7 of those. And how much was the test worth? 160. Still not paying attention over there. So how many total points? 384. Yay! Alright, Mike discovered that the pool in his backyard is leaking slowly. The pool holds 13,921 gallons of water. That's a lot of water. Think about 13,921 gallons of milk. Everybody knows what a gallon of milk is, right? 13,000, that's a lot. And it's leaking at a rate of 12 gallons a day. So they're losing 12 gallons every day. Alright, if he doesn't replace the water that is leaked from the pool, how many gallons of water will remain in the pool after 128 days? How many gallons of water will remain in the pool after 128 days? So how much is going out in 128 days? How do you find that? 128, what did you say, Jack? Multiply. So 128 times 12, and then you got to subtract that from 13,921, right? And you got to be careful here. Did they say how much is in the pool or how much has leaked out of the pool? How much is in the pool? You got to be careful. So what's our answer? B. Again? B. All right. Marcus works as a salesman at a car dealership. He's paid a base salary, so no matter how many cars he sells, he gets that much every month. Okay? Kind of like waitresses and waiters. They get paid a base salary and they get tips. Alright, he receives a commission of this month for, here's a hint, each vehicle he sells. If last month Marcus earned $9,850.21, how many cars did he sell last month? What are we going to do? Do we work backwards and use these answers? Yeah. Alright, let's just pick one. Let's say D. Let's say 34. So we're going to say 34 times that commission. Is that commission on there? 34 times the commission. Oh, geez. What do you think? Yeah, I don't care. I'm not saying I don't care. That'll be great. That'll be good. All right, see ya. All right, y'all got an idea? Did I pick the right one already? Oh, well, how did I do that then? How did you find out it was D? So if we said we're multiplying 34 times what? 34 times that much. And then what are we doing to this number? Adding it in there. So D's the answer? Alright, last one. Sealy. This was a character named Sealy on The Color Purple. Have you ever seen The Color Purple? You know the person who's ever seen The Color Purple? Nobody ever seen it? It's got Oprah Winfrey in it, and it's got Whoopi Goldberg in it. And, it was back in the 80s. But anyway, alright, so Sealy's using a cart to move several large boxes at a time. Anyway, each box weighs 16 pounds. Each box weighs 16 pounds, and the cart weighs 12 pounds. How much total weight must he move if he loads 6 boxes onto the cart? D? D as in boy? D as in dog. Okay. Thank you. How'd you get that? 6 times 16 plus 12. Okay, so now you've got your 10 questions. Now let's see, 10:46. So you've got over 20 minutes to get to work on it. Now remember, do your questions as soon as you can. Don't rush. You want to do it as good as you can right now.